Hi, good morning. This is Grace, and I'm going to read a little bit more Stuart Little to you today. I'm happy to say that we've covered the first five, what is this? Eight. The first six, seven, eight, no, six, seven, can't count. The first, it's Roman numerals, people. Nobody knows what they mean. We've covered the first seven chapters and two readings and managed to get them to stop in a place where the story had come to a natural pausing point, which is happy for me and lucky for you, because if you might have missed one of those first two readings, then you're not really too far behind. You missed some of Stuart's adventures, two of them, but you can start right now with me if you like. If this is the first time you're looking at the book, is Stuart Little. It's by E.B. White. She is also the author of Charlotte's Web, which is a very popular children's book, and I may read that to you later. And I got some illustrations in it by Garth Williams. They're little pictures that are just little drawn black and white drawings, but it does add to the substance of the story. So far, just to bring you up to speed, Stuart Little is a mouse that was born to a couple. I'm not sure how that happened, but he was born to a couple, and then he has an older brother that he lives with, all of them in New York City. So he likes to go on adventures, and he's been on two so far. And here comes the next adventure, and chapter 8 is titled Margalo. I don't know what that is. So, because he was so small, being a mouse and all, Stuart was often hard to find around the house. His father and his mother and his brother George seldom could locate him by looking for him. Usually they had to call him. And the house often echoed with the cries of Stuart, Stuart. You would come into a room and he might be curled up in a chair, but you wouldn't see him. Mr. Little was in constant fear of losing him and never finding him again. He even made him a tiny red cap, such as hunters wear, with ear flaps, I guess, so that he would be easier to see. One day, when he was 7 years old, Stuart was in the kitchen watching his mother make tapioca pudding. Yum. He was feeling hungry, and when Mrs. Little opened the door of the electric refrigerator to get something, Stuart slipped inside to see if he could find a piece of cheese. Nice cheese. What are you going to do? He supposed, of course, his mother had seen him, and when the door swung shut and he realized he was locked in, it surprised him greatly. Oh, here he is in the refrigerator. See? Uh-oh. Help, he called. It's dark in here. It's cold in this refrigerator. Help, let me out. I'm getting colder by the minute. Well, yeah, it's dark in there. Don't you know the light bulb goes out when you close the refrigerator door? But his voice was not strong enough to penetrate the thick wall of the refrigerator. And in the darkness, he stumbled and fell into a saucer of prunes. Ugh. The juice was cold. Stuart shivered and his teeth chattered together. I can't make the noise, but I'm chattering my teeth. It wasn't until half an hour later that Mrs. Little opened the door and found him standing on a butter plate, beating his arms together to try to keep warm. Oh my gosh! And he was blowing on his hands and hopping up and down. He's doing a good job of trying to keep warm. Mercy, she cried. Stuart, my poor little baby. Told ya. I'm chilled. How about a nip of brandy, said Stuart. I'm chilled to the bone. And even though it did not affect Stuart greatly, the background was falling from behind him. But his mother made him some hot broth instead. Yes, I think brandy is not good for a little mouse. He made him some hot broth and put him to bed in his cigarette box with the doll's hot water bottle against his feet. Even so, Stuart caught a bad cold, and this turned into bronchitis. And Stuart had to stay in bed for almost 2 weeks. So now in the first chapter, they explained how the father had made a cigarette box into a bed by using some clothespins on the ends of it. So he's got this kind of cute little 4-poster bed, but the posters are actually clothespins. So it's very cute. During his illness, the other members of the family were extremely kind to Stuart. Mrs. Little played tic-tac-toe with him. George made him a soap bubble pipe and a bow and arrow. Mr. Little made him a pair of ice skates out of 2 paper clips. Oh. One cold afternoon, Mrs. Little was shaking her dust cloth out of the window when she noticed a small bird lying on the windowsill, apparently dead. Oh, sometimes they run into the window. She brought it in and put it near the radiator, which is like a heater back in the old days. And in a short while, it fluttered its wings and opened its eyes. It was a pretty little hen bird, brown, with a streak of yellow on her breast. The Littles didn't agree on what kind of bird she was. She's a wall-eyed vireo, said George scientifically. I think she's more like a young wren, said Mr. Little. Anyway, they fixed a place up for her in the living room and fed her and gave her a cup of water. Soon she felt much better and went hopping around the house, examining everything with the greatest care and interest. Presently, she hopped upstairs and into Stuart's room, where he was lying in bed. So here's the little bird. She's hopping up the stairs. Can you imagine? That's probably a pretty big hop for that bird. That's like twice her height. That's like you jumping up to the second floor of somewhere. Hello, said Stuart. Who are you? Where did you come from? My name is Margalo, said the bird, softly in a musical tone. I came from fields once tall with wheat, from pastures deep in fern and thistle. I come from vales of meadow sweet, and I love to whistle. Oh, and apparently she likes to rhyme. Stuart sat bolt upright in bed. Say that again, he said. I can't, replied Margalo. I have a sore throat. So have I, said Stuart. I've got bronchitis. You better not get too near me. You might catch it. I'll stay right here by the door, said Margalo. You can use some of my gargle if you want to, Stuart said, and there's some nose drops, and I have plenty of Kleenex. Well, thank you very much. You are very kind, replied the bird. Did they take your temperature? Asked Stuart, who was beginning to be genuinely worried about his new friend's health. Oh, no, Margot said, but I don't think it will be necessary. Well, better make sure, Stuart said, because I would hate to have anything happen to you. Oh, he's already got a new friend. Here, and he tossed her the thermometer. Now, Margot put the thermometer under her tongue. Okay, the thermometer's bigger than she is, but she put it under her tongue, bless her, and she and Stuart sat very still for 3 minutes. Now, I know when you come to Elwyn, we're going to take your temperature with a little gun-like thing that we don't even have to touch you. But I'm sure that all of you remember when you were young, you used to have to put the thermometer under your tongue for us to check your temperature. And then you are supposed to leave it for 3 minutes, but your parents might not have told you that. So after the 3 minutes, they took it out and looked at it and turned it slowly and carefully. Normal, she announced. Stuart felt his heart leap for gladness. It seemed to him that he had never seen any creature so beautiful as this tiny bird, and he already loved her. I hope, he remarked, that my parents have fixed you up with a decent place to sleep. And look at here, here's the little bird at the bottom where she's looking at the thermometer. I probably didn't even really register. Oh, yes, Margalo replied. I am going to sleep in the Boston Fern on the bookshelf in the living room. It's a nice place for a city location. And now, if you'll excuse me, I think I shall go to bed. I see it's getting dark outside, and I always go to bed at sundown. Good night, sir. Please don't call me sir, cried Stuart. Call me Stuart. Very well, said the bird. Good night, Stuart. And she hopped off with light, bouncing steps. Good night, Margalo, called Stuart. See you in the morning. Stuart settled back under the bedclothes again. There's a mighty fine bird, he whispered and sighed a tender sigh. When Mrs. Little came in later to tuck Stuart in for the night and hear his prayers, Stuart asked her if she thought the bird would be quite safe sleeping down in the living room. Quite safe, my dear, replied Mrs. Little. Well, what about that cat Snowbell? Asked Stuart sternly, because you know that, well, if you heard the first part, Snowbell wasn't always nice to Stuart. Snowbell will not touch the bird, his mother said. You go to sleep and forget all about it. Mrs. Little opened the window and turned out the light. Stuart closed his eyes and lay there in the dark, but he couldn't seem to get to sleep. He tossed and turned, and the bedclothes got all rumpled up. He kept thinking about the bird downstairs asleep in the fern. I almost read that again. Finally, unable to stand it any longer, he switched on the light. There's just something in me that doesn't trust a cat, he muttered. I can't sleep knowing that Margalo is in danger. Pushing the covers back, Stuart climbed out of the bed. He put on his wrapper and slippers. Wrapper's an old-fashioned name for your robe. Taking his bow and arrow and his flashlight, he tiptoed out into the hall. Everybody had gone to bed, and the house was dark. Stuart found his way to the stairs and descended slowly and cautiously into the living room, making no noise. His throat hurt him, and he felt a little bit dizzy. Doesn't sound like he's all well to me. Sick as I am, he said to himself, this has got to be done. Being careful not to make a sound, he stole across to the lamp by the bookshelf, shinnied up the cord, and climbed out onto the shelf. There was a faint ray of light coming from the street lamp outside, and Stuart could dimly see Margalo asleep in the fern, her head tucked under her wing. Sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breasts, he whispered, repeating a speech that he had heard in the movies. Then he hid behind a candlestick and waited, listening and watching. For half an hour he saw nothing, heard nothing but the faint ruffle of Margalo's wings when she stirred in a dream. The clock struck 10 loudly, and before the sound of the last stroke had died away, Stuart saw two gleaming yellow eyes peering out from behind the sofa. So, thought Stuart, I guess there's going to be something after all. He reached for his bow and arrow. The eyes came nearer. Stuart was frightened, but he was a brave mouse, even when he had a sore throat. He placed the arrow against the cord of the bow and waited. So he's like this with the arrow. And he waited. Snowbell crept softly toward the bookshelf and climbed noiselessly up the chair, within easy reach of the Boston fern where Margalo was asleep. Cats are very quiet that way. Then he crouched, ready to spring. Ooh. His tail waved back and forth. His eyes gleamed bright. Stuart decided the time had come. He stepped out from behind the candlestick, knelt down, bent his bow, and took careful aim at Snowball's left ear, which was the nearest thing to him. This is the finest thing I have ever done, Stuart thought, and he shot the arrow right into the cat's ear. Ah! Snowbell squealed with pain and jumped down. Look at Snowbell's face when the arrow's hitting her. Yeah, Snowbell did not like that. She jumped down and ran toward the kitchen. A direct hit, said Stuart. Thank heaven. Well, there's a good night's work done. And he threw a kiss towards Margalo's sleeping form. It was a tired little mouse that crawled into bed a few minutes later, tired but ready for sleep at last. Chapter 9. Now that was one whole adventure, see? Chapter 9 is a narrow escape. That sounds dangerous. Margalo liked it so well at the Littles' house that she decided to stay for a while instead of returning to the open country. She and Stuart became fast friends, and as the days passed, it seemed to Stuart that she grew more and more beautiful. He hoped she would never go away from him. One day, when Stuart had recovered from bronchitis, he took his new skates and put on his ski pants and went out to look for an ice pond. And the minute he stepped out onto the street, he saw an Irish terrier. So he had to shinny up an iron gate and jump into a garbage can where he hid in a grove of celery. Oh, that's what this picture is. It's him in the garbage can there. See, he's in the celery, but I wouldn't trust a dog around him either, so that was a smart move. When he was there, waiting for the dog to go away, a garbage truck from the Department of Sanitation drove up to the curb and two men picked up the can. Stuart felt himself being hoisted high in the air. He peered over the side and saw that in another instant he and everything in the can would be dumped into the big truck. If I jump now, I'll kill myself, thought Stuart. So he ducked back into the can and waited. The men threw the can with a loud bump into the truck, where another man grabbed it, turned it upside down, and shook everything out. Stuart landed on his head, buried 2 feet deep in slippery, wet garbage. All around him was garbage smelling strong. Under him, over him, on all four sides of him, garbage. Just an enormous world of garbage and trash and smell. Hey, it's kind of like in Star Wars when they fell into that watery pit. Just an enormous world of garbage and trash and smell. It was a messy spot to be in. He had an egg on his trousers, butter on his cap, gravy on his shirt, orange pulp in his ear, and a banana peel wrapped around his waist. Well, that's a picture of it. It's a little hard to see, but he's kind of in a mess there, isn't he? Still hanging on to his skates, Stuart tried to make his way up to the surface of the garbage, but the footing was bad. He climbed a pile of coffee grounds, but near the top, the grounds gave way under him, and he slid down and landed in a pool of leftover rice pudding. I bet I'm going to be sick to my stomach before I get out of this, said Stuart. He was anxious to work his way up to the top of the pile because he was afraid by being squashed by the next can load of garbage. When at last he did succeed in getting to the surface, tired and smelly, he observed that the truck was not making any more collections, but it was rumbling rapidly along. Stuart glanced up at the sun. We're going east, he said to himself. I wonder what that means. Oh, dear heavens. Well, I'll show you the picture in a minute. There was no way for him to get out of the truck. The sides were too high. He just had to wait. When the truck arrived at the East River, which borders New York City on the east, and which is a rather dirty but useful river, the driver drove out onto the pier, backed up to a garbage scow, and dumped his load. That's why I said, oh dear, look, he is dumping all of the stuff that Stuart is in onto a barge. And then they would take that barge out and they will dump that at sea, is how they used to get rid of trash. Perhaps not the best method, right? So let's see. Dumped his load. Stuart went crashing and slithering along with everything else and hit his head so hard he fainted and lay quite still as though dead. He lay that way for almost an hour, and when he recovered his senses, he looked about him and saw nothing but water. The scow was being towed out to sea. Well, thought Stuart, this is about the worst thing that can happen to anybody. I guess this will be my last ride in this world, for he knew that the garbage would be towed 20 miles out and dumped into the Atlantic Ocean. I guess there's nothing I can do about it, he thought hopelessly. I'll just have to sit here bravely and die like a man. But I wish I didn't have to die with egg on my pants and butter on my cap and gravy on my shirt and orange pulp in my ear and banana peel wrapped around my middle. The thought of death made Stuart sad, and he began to think of his home and his father and mother and brother and of Margalo and Snowbell, and of how he loved them all but Snowbell, and of what a pleasant place his home was, especially in the early morning with the light just coming in through the curtains, and his eyes when he realized that the world, when the sun was coming in through the curtains and the household stirring and waking, nice, warm, fuzzy time, right? The tears came into his eyes when he realized that he'd never see them again. He was still sobbing when a small voice behind him whispered, Stuart? He looked around through his tears, and There, sitting on a Brussels sprout, was Margalo. Margalo! Cried Stuart. How did you get here? Well, said the bird, I was looking out the window this morning when you left home, and I happened to see you get dumped into the garbage truck. So I flew out the window and followed the truck, thinking you might need help. Yeah, I've never been so glad to see anybody in all my life, said Stuart. But how are you going to help me? Well, I think that if you'll hang on to my feet, said Margalo, I can fly ashore with you. It's worth trying anyway. I mean, how much do you weigh? 3 ounces and a half, said Stuart. With your clothes on, said Margalo. Certainly, replied Stuart modestly. Then I believe I can carry you all right. Suppose I get dizzy, said Stuart. Don't look down, replied Margalo, then you won't get dizzy. Suppose I get sick to my stomach. You'll just have to be sick, the bird replied. Anything is better than death. Yes, that's true, Stuart agreed. Hang on then. We may as well get started. So Stuart tucked his skates into his shirt, as he wanted to keep on to those, and he stepped gingerly onto a tuft of lettuce and took a firm grip on Margalo's ankles. All ready, he cried. With a flutter of wings, Margalo rose to the sky, carrying Stuart along, and together they flew out over the ocean and headed home. It sounds like a long way, but here is Stuart holding on to Margalo as they're flying through the air, and you can see that they're showing the city there, that they are going a long way. So bless her heart for carrying him all that way, because he looks about as big as she is, and quite honestly, she probably weighs less. So bless her little heart. So, here is a little small picture of him. Phew, said Margalo when they were high in the air. You smell awful, Stuart. I know I do, he said gloomily. I hope it isn't making you feel bad. I can hardly breathe, she answered, and my heart is pounding in my breast. Isn't there something you could do to make yourself lighter? Well, I could drop the ice skates, said Stuart. Goodness me, cried the little bird. I didn't know you had skates hidden in your shirt. Toss those heavy skates away, and we'll, maybe, hold on just a second. I'm being checked here, because in the middle of this rescue, Stuart is being carried back, and she said, well, toss those heavy skates away, or we will both come down in the ocean and perish. Now, a couple of paper clips don't seem a lot to you and me, but that's probably pretty heavy for a bird. Stuart threw his skates away and watched them fall down, 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 till they disappeared in the gray waves below. Well, that's better, said Margalo. Now we're all right. I can see the towers and chimneys of New York. So there goes the skates, and there's New York. Yay, they're on their way home. 15 minutes later, they flew through the open window of the Littles' living room and landed on the Boston Fern. Mrs. Little, who had left the window up when she missed Margalo, was glad to see them back, for she was beginning to worry. When she heard what happened and how near she had come to losing her son, she took Stuart in her hand, even though his clothes smelled nasty, and kissed him. Then she sent him upstairs to take a bath and sent George out to take Stuart's clothes to the cleaner, or burn them, right? What was it like out there in the Atlantic Ocean? Inquired Mr. Little, who had never been very far from home. So Stuart and Margalo told all about the ocean and the gray waves curling with the white crests and the gulls in the sky and the channel buoys, say that, and the ships around the tugboats, and the wind making a sound in your ear. Mr. Little sighed and said one day he hoped to get away from business long enough to see all those fine things. Everyone thanked Margalo for saving Stuart's life, and at supper time, Mrs. Little presented her with a tiny cake which had seeds and sprinkles on tops. Seeds is what birds eat. The bird's food, if you've ever seen it, it looks like seeds. So I think that's a good stopping place as we are at the end of another adventure. And an even better reason for it to be at a stopping place is because I know that Vanessa and Carmen and even our new friend Jillian have a fabulous surprise for you guys today, and you are going to love it. So I'll turn the camera back over to Vanessa, and she will take you guys over to the thrill of a lifetime, I am sure. So thank you guys for letting me read to you today, and we will we'll give you some more Stuart Little next time that I can. Thank you. I'll be glad. Oh, music, love it.
We appreciate you so much.
Oh, so much fun. You guys are going to love this. Yay.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jillian. I'm your new case manager, and today we're going to do some science. Welcome to Let's Get Chemical.
Directors.
All right, let's get started. I don't know where the girls went. They should be here any minute. Sorry, they're taking a little time. You know how women are.
It's the Bubble Girls.
What are you guys doing? I said science, not snorkeling.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. We're
They're
ready.
so silly. So today we're going to do fun science experiments with the ingredients we have here on the table. We have baking soda, vinegar, food coloring, and dish soap.
Yes. So today we're going to do an experiment with the baking soda and vinegar balloon first. So do you want to tell a little bit about it, V?
Okay. So the baking soda and vinegar balloon, we have our vinegar here in our little container. And we poured baking soda inside the balloon, of course, with the help of a funnel. So what we did was just like this, and then we grabbed like a spoon and poured the whole baking soda inside here. Let's see. So use a funnel to add like maybe a spoon or 1/3 cup of baking soda to the inside of the balloon, just like how we have it. And you could grab any fun balloon. Fill a plastic bottle with approximately 1 cup vinegar.
The sound's not on.
Fill the plastic bottle with approximately 1 cup of vinegar. And then we're going to attach the balloon. We're going to attach the balloon to the bottle, to the container. And once the bottle is attached to, the balloon is attached to the container, the reason we're attaching it this way, as far as science goes, there's a pretty simple reason why this happens. So how does it work, Vanessa?
So how does it work? The vinegar and the baking soda mixed together makes an acid-base reaction to it. I think we paused. Sorry, you guys, I think we're having technical issues, so hang in there with us. And we freezed.
We froze. Oh,
Yeah, we frozen.
there you go.
Okay. stopped.
Going again?
We're stopped, yeah.
How frustrating.
Want to hook it to hotspot?
I would too.
Can you turn the phone? Grace, please.
See what's going on here.
Here you go.
Sorry, you guys. It says that we're still live, though. Sorry, you guys.
I see you.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
can
her?
you hear us, sir?
Hey, Coffee.
Okay. So how does it work? The vinegar and the baking soda mixes together to make an acid-base reaction. The reaction creates carbon dioxide gas that bubbles up from the mixture. The gas expands up and out of the bottle and inflates the balloon. Another cool thing about these balloons is that carbon dioxide is heavier than the air. So when you drop the balloon, which I will be showing you guys, it says that it falls to the ground faster than a regular balloon filled in the air. So let's check. So we got our baking soda in here and our vinegar. Let's see. And we gotta hold this very tightly. So,
Were you
oh, and I
gonna
forgot
do
my
that?
goggles, you guys.
Oh no.
Sorry, so make sure you have safety first. And it feels cold. It feels cold. It feels cold.
Good job, B.
There you go, you guys. So we'll just let it calm down a little bit.
And can I tie that one so we
Yeah,
can see
we
how
should.
it falls?
Let's see. We're gonna try another experiment of bouncing the ball. So let's see. Oh, it's kind of hard to. You hold it?
Teamwork.
Yes. Always
Teamwork
teamwork.
makes the dream work, everybody.
Watch the vinegar. Just kidding.
Oh,
There we
go.
go. Okay, I got you. Okay, you want to show it one more time?
Okay, let's see. Let's do it one more time. Let's see. So we tighten the balloon into the bottle or the container that you have. Then baking soda is in here already. So make sure you get some help from an adult or anyone that may help you.
Where do you run into, Jill?
We hold on to the balloon on the side of the bottle, just like this. Remember, there's vinegar in there already. The baking soda's in here. We're gonna flip it this way. Let the baking soda drop. Hold it tightly. And I think we needed a little bit more vinegar. So make sure there's enough vinegar in there. Baking soda. This one was a small one.
But it's still blue.
Yes, it's still blue a little bit.
Okay, we can leave that tight on there.
Okay, we'll just leave this one right here.
So as she was talking about it, as the balloon falls a lot harder to the ground,
Let's see.
do you want to give it to Jill to try too?
Yes.
It falls a lot harder
yeah.
to the ground
Interesting.
because it's filled with air and not, it's filled with carbon monoxide and not air, basically. Dioxide and not
Yes.
air.
Because the carbon dioxide is heavier than the air.
Okay.
So no, these balloons definitely
Woohoo!
don't float. And that's the baking soda and vinegar balloon project experiment.
Yay.
Very good.
But we got that other stuff you got there.
So,
Next.
do you ladies want to help me with this? Because this is a new one too. So we're going to do the, we're going to do a lemon fizz. It's almost like the volcanoes, but we're just basically showing that not just vinegar and baking soda will give you a reaction. So will lemon kind of do the same thing that the baking soda does. So we need to cut the lemons in half.
so that they can see the table.
Ooh.
It smells really good.
Really good.
These are
So
some
we're
good
gonna
lemons.
move these over by you, Jill, in the middle, so we can work with those.
They can see the lemon.
Vanessa, do we want to pull the camera closer?
I'm
I
gonna
want
move
to
these
pull the
out.
camera so they can see.
Okay, let's get you guys a little closer.
Okay, so it says we're gonna take a spoonful of the baking soda and put it in the cup,
Okay.
and we're going to squirt in just a little squirt of the dishwashing liquid in there.
There you go.
A little squirt.
And then what color, food coloring do you guys think we want to use? We have blues, purples, pink, orange.
Let's let Jill.
Yes.
What's your favorite color, Jill? If we have
I'm gonna do green.
Awesome.
All right. And food coloring a little bit goes a long way, everybody.
Yes, so it just says add a drop or two of the food
So I'm
coloring.
gonna do 2 drops.
Okay. Then it says, then we're gonna mix that together. And then while Jill is mixing that, we should be making a few little holes. Do you have your knife with you? Making a few little holes into the, So once Jill pours this over the lemons, you're gonna almost see a volcanic reaction the same way it happens when we put it in the baking soda.
Is it supposed to be liquidy? Supposed to have flavor in it?
Let's see, it
Baking
just
soda, lemon, dishwashing.
the lemon is going to
Spoon or
act as the
straw?
vinegar.
Okay,
Okay,
here we go.
let's see.
It's a little thick. Oh, here we go. It's bubbling.
You're getting a bubble reaction, the same reaction that you would get. Do you want a little more baking soda, you think? You're getting the same reaction that you would get from if you were using vinegar, because they said the baking soda reacts to citric acid in the lemon juice, which then again forms a carbon dioxide gas. The gas and bubbles are trapped in the dishwashing foam, forming fizzy bubbles. So that was a little different, way different than what we expected from the from baking soda and vinegar. What you think? Wasn't as fun as what we're getting ready to do. Do you want to
No.
squeeze it in there and try?
Yeah, so what happens if you
Let's
squeeze
see
it in
what
there.
if it happens if you put it in there.
And you squeeze it in there, it gets super bubbly.
Oh,
Really
wow,
bubbly.
it did get really bubbly inside the cup.
Mm-hmm.
So it does kind of have the same reaction, except it has the same reaction, except it's better inside the cup instead of just putting it directly on the lemon. So, let's think. What do you think we should do now? What do you think?
Oh, I have an idea.
You do?
Yeah.
What should we do?
Let's do the light bulb experiments now.
Awesome. So we are going to have some fun.
Okay. So in these light bulbs, we have put the baking soda and we put food coloring in it just so that it's easier to see and it'll be fun colors. So there's 3, 4, 5 different ways that we could create a reaction with these light bulbs. The first one is going to be the baking soda and just vinegar. So should we do the blue one?
It's up to you.
We'll pick the blue one first. I'm feeling blue today.
So should I pour some in the cup?
Sure, or you can pour it directly into the.
Okay.
All right. So this can get a little messy. Wait a minute. Safety first.
We
guys.
don't want
Safety
blue
first,
spots
guys.
on us, guys.
Fashion. Fashion is everything. These
Yes.
things need windshield wipers.
They do.
All right, here we go. Here's the first one. And here it goes.
Whoa.
Oh, it's trying.
It's trying really hard.
As you guys can see, it tried to bubble. It almost bubbled out.
Okay, should we try it with the next
Try it
color
with
and
the
see
next
how far this
color.
one
Let's
gets?
See. Now we're gonna do the baking soda plus 1 squirt of dish soap. Just right in the center of the baking soda. All
I like
right.
the pretty colors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Whoa!
That was a good
Look
one.
at the difference with the dish soap.
That's so cool.
Okay, so then we have another way that we're gonna do it.
So this time it had a lot more
Of bubbles.
So then the next mix is baking soda with a squish, a swish, a smidge of soap mixed in. So we're gonna go like this.
I like it.
We're gonna
Fancy.
mix it,
Chemical.
and we'll use these
Chemical.
two.
I wanna get chemical.
Let's get into science.
Science can be fun.
Yes.
Yes.
All
Look how the
right.
orange stopped.
We got more orange for you over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember she put the vinegar and the soap dishwashing liquid in the cup this time. So let's see what reaction we get this way.
Oh.
Come on. Come
Slow
on.
motion.
Slowly.
Here it comes.
And
You rub things.
Yes, it made it to the top.
that's all.
Good job,
Thank
yellow.
So this time it happened much slower. So that was kind of cool. And look
Okay.
at how bubbly it is.
Interesting.
So this time the bubbles are going to be left over for a little while. Looks like it's going to keep bubbling for a while. So we'll do the next one. This is this the next one?
Is it like super hard to read with the goggles on?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like we need
Here.
windshield wipers.
I'm not
Okay,
like it.
let's see.
Yes.
I was trying to see, guys. So it says.
Is that the one we
this
pour?
one, it's the same as the other one, but let's see. Baking soda and vinegar. So let's just try this one with which mix did we like the best? Maybe this one?
Yes.
Because it lasted a while.
Yes.
So we're gonna do.
And then we'll do a little more vinegar, you think?
So we'll do. Oh, I know what it is. Remember.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to pour the baking soda in the cup.
And then mix the
Mix
soap.
the soap.
Yeah, you guys didn't do your song. Let's.
Yeah, we did. We played it in the beginning, but we'll finish
The instrumental version.
at the end. And we do not own the rights to this music.
These are gonna be hard to clean. Are you
No, it's
reusing
okay.
these? Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna put that back in there.
Nice.
Oh, that's gonna be messy.
Good.
We need a funnel.
Mess is fun.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's gonna get stuck. Okay, something tells me this one's gonna.
This one's gonna be a good mess.
This one's gonna be a mess.
So pretty.
I like that color.
Yeah, this is a good color. I like this color.
Do you remember what colors did we mix to make that color? I think it was red and
Red and, no, I think that's
Red
the
and
turquoise one you
Oh,
mixed out. Oh, no, you did mix it, because I don't see a turquoise.
All right, that should be enough. Let's see
Okay,
how this works
so
out.
let's see the different reaction in this.
Let's move. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's move that to the side. All right, you guys. Let's see what happens here.
Okay, we're
I'm
about to be spotted.
Put your goggles back
Here
on.
we go.
Oh my
Here
God.
it goes. Whoa.
Oh,
Wow, that was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
oh,
Orange is
very
so
pretty,
nice.
and it just goes forever. So this would be if we made a volcano. This would probably be the best.
The best
mix
way to do it.
because it
Yeah.
goes for a long. I mean, it's still going and going. All right. So why does this happen?
Okay, let me tell you. In this reaction, the carbon dioxide gas is produced. Pressure builds up inside the plastic bottle. And when the pressure builds up inside the plastic bottle, like in a volcano, that's once the pressure is too strong, it then pushes itself, the gas pushes itself out of the bottle, which is generally how a volcano will do. I am foggy. I'm in a volcano. So we think, let's take this was just pure
Vinegar and
baking soda. This was a little, was
a
this
little
the,
squirt of soap with the vinegar?
And the
Okay.
response took a while.
That one took
Yes,
a while.
that one
yeah.
took a while
And that one was the vinegar and soap mixed together.
and
and
poured
then
in there.
And then this one is the
the baking soda with the
Mixing it in the cup
soap in the cup.
and then putting it back in.
So which one was your favorite out of all of these?
Hmm.
Grace?
I like the blue one. It's still full.
I know it's
Yes.
still
Yes.
full.
Carrie, what do you think?
Well, of course, my favorite one was the orange in color,
Mhm.
but the response really would be definitely the teal, the blue. Yeah, I like the way it just continually did
Keeps
its
going.
job.
Should we do this method with the orange?
With the orange for you?
Let's try it.
Okay.
Let's
And
try
I
it because we
believe-
have some more
I
light
believe
bulbs
because
here.
we're thoroughly mixing it. I
Mhm.
think that what you're doing, it has a lot to do with when you're baking or rising a cake. You do
Oh,
have to mix-
yeah.
You do have to mix all the ingredients extremely well and to have that cake rise.
So the
Carrie's
chemical
so
reaction
smart.
and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Alright.
try it again.
It's almost lunchtime. I'm thinking with my belly.
She's
So
thinking
as-
cakes.
So as you can see, there's many different ways that you can mix these, but the reaction that you get from each one, like she was saying, if you thoroughly mix this, then you get a reaction like the blue one. And honestly, a lot of that came out of that bottle.
Is that food coloring for each color
Yes.
that you're? Awesome.
Yes, yes.
Is there any aroma or smell from each?
Oh, the
chemical that
vinegar
you're-
is not nice.
Not
But you know, the dish soap
The dish soap
helps
cuts
with
it.
that vinegar
Oh,
smell
okay.
because you know
Yes.
I'm not
vinegar doesn't
smelling it over
smell all that
Oh.
great.
Yeah, the
And it
vinegar
kinda
is
lingers
not
for a
nice.
while.
So now we're gonna try it again with the dish soap,
Oh, look how bright
and
that
there's your orange.
is. Isn't that just a ray of sunshine, people? As much as makes you go on a vacation. Get your passports ready, people.
I'm ready.
We're going to Hawaii.
We're ready.
We're gonna go see volcanoes.
I think this mixture was my favorite one. So
I
let's
do
see.
too. I like that one.
It's well mixed.
So I agree with you, like the same thing you're saying with cooking. You know, depending on how you mix it
Yeah.
is how your product is going to turn out. and we noticed adding more to the ingredients and mixing it, we're getting a better result.
But don't push
Yeah,
dish
use
soap
it all.
when you're baking.
Yes, not at all.
After, when you're cleaning.
All right.
Hey,
And don't let
there's
this
your
go.
cup.
Goggles.
Goggles,
Check, safety
Check.
first, people.
check.
Safety first.
They're very
All right.
foggy. And here
And
we
here we
go.
go.
Carrie's orange.
Go.
Oh, nice.
Whoa, that really
There's
went.
definitely some
Good job.
Awesome.
All right. Look at that go. Let's see how long it goes for.
So that one really, I like that one the
Yeah,
best,
responded
taking
well.
it and mixing
Me
it. It seems to respond better with
Yes.
the mixing everything before pouring the vinegar over.
Mhm.
You know what? The coloring wasn't as awesome as the blue, though. It really
No,
wasn't.
yeah, that blue's really good.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, are
Thank
all
goodness
these
for commerce.
household items? Did you find these where? I mean, at the store or under?
Basically, like we said, this is something that you could do at home. You just have your baking soda, which is probably in the refrigerator somewhere.
Right.
Cabinets.
You have your vinegar, just the white vinegar, your dish soap.
Found by your sink.
Yes, and honestly, that's kind of what you need unless you want to add some food coloring for fun.
Right.
But every one of these things can be found at home. It can be done quick on like a rainy day, or if you're just wanting to show your science skills off. This is something that can be done quick and easy. And, you know, like we said, we put it on trays. We made sure everything is covered for a quick cleanup.
Fantastic.
I promised I wouldn't make a mess.
So again, this is just lots of fun. Look forward to us doing more fun science experiments. We are just trying to cover all the areas. We got Miss Grace reading. We got Carrie with the tried and true. We have Miss Twee with her art. We have the traveling with L&L. Oh my gosh, we have
Jeremy's
Rebecca. We have
Jeremy's
Jeremy's geography. We've now added the science. And I don't want to forget Letty and Nellie and their cooking. And everybody is just, you know, we have so many areas that we have covered that, hey, we're pushing. Don't forget to keep giving us your ideas. We are looking forward to that. And another thing we would like to say, we are glad you guys have met Miss Jill. She is a complete
Yes.
asset to our
Right.
Owen team, and we appreciate all that she has already done with us.
Welcome, Jill.
Welcome, Jill.
Thank
Stay tuned for her interview. She's been
Soon.
busy.
She's running.
Yes,
Again,
Yeah.
happy Memorial Day. We miss all of you, and we thank you for always tuning in. And again, have a safe Memorial Day. Anything else, ladies?
No?
Hey, your balloon is still up over there.
yes, it is.
Still working.
It's dying.
This one.
It's dying. Good job, ladies.
What would happen if we left this, if we put this back on right after we put the...
We'll all be green. Let's try. We'll all be green.
In the middle, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna try